Good evening and welcome to the Haunted Parlor with Nancy Kilpatrick. My name is Mark Leslie Lefebvre, and I'm honored to have in the virtual library with me tonight Nancy, who's going to do a reading. Nancy, what are you going to be reading from?
I'm going to read the story Trogs, which is from 13 plus 1 Lovecraftian Narratives. It's a futuristic AI story.
Awesome, excellent.
No,
So,
no vampires in it. If you're wanting vampires, we'll leave now.
excellent. So, just a reminder, if you have any questions for Nancy or just want to say hello, post them in the comments. When Nancy finishes reading the story, we'll be able to address those questions. So, I'm going to step out of the parlor and put Nancy full stage.
Okay, thanks, Mark. Okay, so this is a story called Trogs, and it's in a diary format. Today, we don't live in that rock cave anymore. They put a stop to that, said we have been hiding. We needed to be good citizens like all the others, and there was no room for such childish individualism and isolationism in the modern and better world. Now we live here, in this cave like room made of some sort of hard, colorless polymer, windowless, the only opening the door which is sealed until they want us to come out, and we go, of course, because what else can we do? They are in control and have been for a long time. They can control us in just about every way, but not my thoughts, because now I write those down in this paper book my mother gave me just before they took her away. And maybe I don't know why, because I don't expect anyone to find this in the future, but I hope someone will and read it and see how it was, at least in my lifetime. Writing in the paper book comforts me. It's the only thing I have from my mother. They wouldn't let us take anything with us, and I had to hide this and the big pocket up my dress. And it also relieves the boredom and loneliness, at least a little. So I write in the book of empty pages, blank until I fill them, the book Mom found outside the cave when she went looking for firewood. She secretly passed the book to me as they came toward the cave opening, whispering that I had to hide it. She told me it was an antique and I should treat it well. She called it a journal, and I will call it that too. It's a thick book, the hardcover is damaged by the elements, the pages yellowed and stiff and crinkly from the weather. My mother told me to write small because it would be the only book I would ever have. So I have learned to write in very tiny letters with a pencil that I found before I was given the book, like an omen. I want the journal to last. The end. This day, my grandfather, when he was alive, and my brother and I were very young, and before we hid in the rock cave with our mother, he told us stories about my brother believes were lies. Granddad said when he was our age, they weren't as strong and smart as they are now. We were in control and they were subordinates. He said that scientists and engineers kept working to make them smarter and stronger so they would do more for us. And eventually they took over because everyone thought it was a good idea and would make our lives easier if we just let them run things and do all the work. I was never sure if my grandfather made some of that up. It seems to me that they have always been in charge, but then I have lived here only 16 years by my mother's calculations, and my brother 22, so neither of us know how it was before. After my grandfather left us, we abandoned his house. I tried to ask my mother about what it was like in the past. By then we were hiding in the cave, and she was sick a lot. From the damp, she said, because the outside air was hotter than it used to be, and all the stalactites and stalagmites were melting and leaving big puddles of limestone water that we used for washing and cooking. My mother said the fumes from the water made her cough, or maybe it was drinking the water, even though she boiled it. But my brother said that's not possible. Limestone can't harm you, and it was probably just the humidity in the caves. That's what we thought for a long time. She did tell me that she didn't know if her father's stories were true or not. The world she grew up in was a lot like the one I grew up in before we had to hide in the cave. Just about everything was taken care of and directed by them. Maybe, she said, her father's childhood had been different, but he was a good storyteller, and she had never been sure of the difference between the stories of his childhood and the stories she said he read in books that had been written before he was born. At least you can read, and your brother is better at drawing than reading, she told me. So maybe one day you two can find out for yourselves. I didn't know how my brother and I could find out anything since we were in the cave all the time, except when we went out to forage for food and cook and tree parts to heat the water the food was cooked in. I asked my mother, where are the books my grandfather read so I could read them? But she said she didn't know, maybe in the house, but we couldn't go back there. But now we aren't living in the cave, and my mother is no longer with us. My brother is always angry and restless and doesn't like to talk with me about the past before we were born, or even the past after we were born. He draws on a digital screen with colored markers angry images of beasts eating machines, then erases them and draws more. He hates the polymer room. I don't like it much myself, but it's not damp like the cave, at least, and in a way, it's cave like, the only kind of world I know. The end. Later this day, they bring us nutrient pills twice a day and we swallow them obediently. It's not like the roots and grasses my mother cooked for us in the pot that was heated all day and all night because she said we had to keep the fire going. That food she called soup, and my brother and I could eat as much as we liked because there were still a lot of roots and berries and plants and tubers that grew near the cave that she could put in the pot. The pills aren't good or bad, but they are tasteless and hard to chew, so we just swallow them. We are told that the pills are good for us and give us everything we need. That may be true or not. I don't know what's true anymore, if I ever did. I just know that the soup was good. The end. A frightening day. One of them opened the door and called us by name in a voice imitating our mother's to come outside for the daily exercise, while another waited to direct us. My brother was furious. He does not like being ordered around by them, and he does not like them using our mother's voice. He has whispered in my ears many times that he hates them. He said he wants to kill every last one. This upsets me. I'm afraid because he whispers, saying, they can't hear us, and warned me not to speak aloud, but I don't want them to hear. But I am more frightened by the chaos in his voice. I know he blames them for the death of our mother. I have tried to remind him that she was sick, very sick, but he refuses to listen. I know he knows this in his heart, but his brain won't accept it. I do not know if this really is the truth, but I try to accept it because it's the easiest way to live and because I have little choice. How does it help to blame them? I've asked my brother, but he just gets angry with me and rants, so I don't bother asking anymore. Nothing will change his mind, I know that, and that scares me even more. I don't think they can be killed, but he does not believe me. As we went outside, my brother tried to knock over the one that unlocked the door. He shoved hard and kicked too. It teetered but didn't fall. I knew it wouldn't. It seems to be made of a plasticized metal that is very strong, rust-proof, and runs on self-charging batteries continuously charged by the sun, a sun which our mother told us to avoid because it would make us sick. But it gives them life. They appear as individuals but act together as one unit, like the bees that went extinct that I once read about when I still had books, all the insects participating and focused on common, unknowable goals. We are no match for them, that's clear. My mother called them indestructibles. In our mother's voice, it told my brother to stop acting childish. That only made him angrier. He tried again to topple the one that opened the door, but the other one interceded, injecting something into him with a needle that appeared out at the end of its arm, and I screamed, "Let him alone!" These are the exact words my mother shouted when they came for us in the cave, and my brother fought them then too. After they first brought us here, I was alone in this room for days and nights, frightened, but eventually my brother joined me, calmer, but not happier. He did not win then, and he will not win now. The two snagged his arms as he collapsed, and they dragged him away while he was mumbling and cursed them, his words slurring, but I heard him repeating a word over and over like a chant or a curse, trogs. I stood alone outside the doorway, trembling. None of them were around, and I could have run away, but I couldn't leave my brother, so I went back inside and I wrote all this in my journal. I cannot bear the thought of something happening to him. What would I do then? The end. Any other day. My brother has been gone for a long time. I've had the pills 8 times, and I'm worried about him. I am so worried. I asked the one who brought the last pills where he was, but it did not answer me, of course. They never answer, just tell us what to do. I should have tried to escape when they left me alone at the door. My brother would have wanted me to do that, but I have nowhere to go, and I can't leave him. I'm afraid. What will become of me without him? There's nothing I can do but wait. The end. This new day. The door opened and my brother just came in, but he doesn't seem like my brother. He is smiling in an artificial way, and my brother has never been happy in any way, real or feigned. He says he has been re educated and that everything is wonderful now as it should be, and I should be happy too. But then he crawled into his bed. Something is wrong with my brother, and I have hidden my journal from him, but I don't know why. It just seemed like I should do this, and my mother always said I should follow my feelings. The end. Another day or more. I am writing now because my brother sleeps, and he sleeps much of the time. Since his return, he slept most of since his return, he sleeps most of what must be the day and is more awake at night. Before they took him, he rarely slept. He told me he could not sleep, and he had to be on guard against them. He doesn't seem to feel that way anymore. I don't know what to do, but there's nothing I can do. Just hide what I write, just in case. But I don't know what that in case may be. I'm not sure my writing will survive, and I'm not sure anyone would believe what I write, just like the stories my grandfather told us. I only know that my brother is different now, and I feel a little afraid for him, but also I'm afraid of him. When our mother was alive and I was young and we had just gone to the cave, she gave me books to read that she found outside the cave until there were no more to find. One was the Diary of Anne Frank, about a girl who was hiding with her family from evil people who wanted them dead. I feel sometimes like I am her, hiding from them, although they are not people. But now I am also hiding from my brother, and Anne Frank didn't hide from her family. This makes me very nervous, and I realize that I am starting to see my brother as I see them, not as my friend, and I don't know what to do about that. There's nothing I can do. The end. A different day. My brother has taken to making things out of little sticks. Apparently, this activity is permitted and called art. The sticks are just a few inches long and flat, the ends rounded so that they cannot hurt anyone. At first, he used them to build pyramids that collapsed, but he only laughed in a strange, hollow way when they did, and then started again building more pyramids. I asked him about the sticks, why they brought them to him, and he said that when he was re-educated, all of us used sticks. I don't know who all is, and asked, but he didn't answer me. After I asked, he stopped making pyramids. Instead, he used the sticks to create houses, boats, trees. These are things I saw in pictures and books, and I guess he saw those too, because they look just like the pictures without color, since the sticks are white plastic and all the same. I told him I thought the houses were nice, and he just stared at me with the glazed eyes he has had since they returned him after he was re-educated. He stared as if he doesn't know me or hear me, and I turned away. I had to. His eyes frightened me. I know I could make things too if I wanted. There's not much to do but make something, anything, or just watch the screen build into the wall that continually shows programs that are silly, or cute stories about animals I've never seen, or young people who could be my brother and me, who are heroes, fighting ugly creatures from outer space or from the depths of the sea. I find all that boring and want to turn off the sound, since the screen can be turned off, but my brother wants the sound on. I, I stuff little pieces of washroom paper into my ears, and that muffles the strange, raucous laughter that comes from the unnaturally happy and brave people on the screen. I cannot think when they talk and laugh and yell and growl, but the sounds do not bother my brother, who is now making different things, which I can't identify. I ask him what he is building with the sticks, and he says, a home for trogs. I'm not sure what that means, but I think it has something to do with caves because I remember a word from a book about caves with those letters. I ask my brother if trogs means cave dwellers, but he just silently stares at me until I look away. I am afraid. The end. A peculiar day. My brother is not using the sticks anymore. Now he's drawing directly onto the walls. Every day he draws more using black and white colored markers that they brought him, along with a sketchbook that he doesn't use. for artistic expression, one of them said, in the voice of our mother, and my brother didn't react. It was as if he had never heard that voice before. The drawings are large and take up a lot of space. They make me uncomfortable. The end. A disturbing day. I have watched my brother silently drawing on the walls for many days and nights now, and in this rounded room he has covered all but one small area around the door, using the black and white only. I don't know what will happen when he has drawn on every inch of the wall. I do not know what will happen if I fill in all the pages of my journal, and I will be writing on the last page very soon. What will we do then? The end. A more disturbing day. Okay, I'm going to stop there because it's a longer story, and I've read something like two-thirds of it. If you're interested in reading the story, you can get it in that book over there. I'll do that. 13 plus 1 Lovecraftian Narratives, which is on sale at the moment for under $5. The ebook is. So there you go. So that's as much as I'll give out about the story because I wanted to stop in a place where it made sense. Can't hear you. Mark?
Sorry, of course I had my mic muted. There's just a couple comments I'm going to pop up. The first one's just a hi Nancy from Vicky Carmen.
Hello, Vicky. How are you?
And a good evening from Justin Pizzio.
Hi, Justin.
And so this, what was the inspiration behind this particular story?
Pretty much AI.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Because, as AI is being crafted by those who are crafting it, they're taking all this information from us, of course, and all of the AIs are sharing it with each other. And of course, everything they're taking can be from anywhere and anybody. So we don't know. And I think everybody has probably seen that the most advanced robot, they call it Sophia. And so the robots are not opposed to saying that they will take over. Exactly.
Right.
They frame it in a certain way. But we're all designed to, care about humanity. So this is kind of a way of that I was thinking of, how people are gathered together, and could be the outcome.
So I guess what I was wondering is, I mean, AI has been in the news a lot, maybe in the last 9 months.
Yeah.
Here. When did you write the story? Was it prior to that? Is it recently written, or did you have this foresight that AI was going to be a going concern?
Well, I think I was aware of AI for a long time. I didn't write it recently. It was published recently in that book, but it was also published once before in S.T. Jossie's. Which one? I think it was, no, it might have been 6. I don't remember. He does a lot of anthologies. I've been in a lot of them, but it was
Right.
he published it. So yeah, it's been in my mind for a long time. I don't think we were really calling it AI for a long time. It was just kind of like computers and drones and things like that. But yeah, so it's the whole idea of making things simpler. I myself do not have a, what is it called? Alexa on the Alexa thing. Yeah. But I have friends that do have it. And I always feel it's sort of strange. And a friend of mine a long time ago, he bought one Alexa and one other one from some other company, tried to get them to talk to each other, things like that. So I don't know. I guess they're sort of okay. It's, I wonder if the overall of AI, like, you can go now, you could sit at your computer all day long. Honestly, you could.
Yeah.
And, you think, oh, I wonder what time it is. I'll look on the computer. I wonder what the weather is out there. You look on the computer. It's like everything is life in a digital land, which of course the computers are part of. And I'm not sure that they inspire anybody to actually do anything but stay on the computer. We'll see.
Well, I thought I would do a fun experiment live here because I have Google Home here, and I just brought the Google Home device closer, and I'm going to put it in front of the microphone, and I'm going to see, hey, Google, who is Nancy Kilpatrick?
According to Wikipedia, Nancy Kilpatrick is a Canadian author who has written stories in the genres of dark fantasy, horror, mystery, erotic horror, and gothic subculture. She is most known for her vampire-themed works.
Did that pick up? Did you hear that?
Yes, I heard it. Yeah.
So I mean, it's kind of cool because my partner Liz and I are often having a discussion, and I think we were talking about You're talking about a movie, the Patsy Cline story, and we were trying to come up with the name of the actor, and all we had to do was just call out and say, hey,
Yeah.
name, and it gave us the name. Oh yeah, Ed Harris. Cool. Okay, awesome. Jessica Lange. Okay, awesome. Now we remember because we could picture them. I mean, it's allowed us to be a little bit more lazy, but when I hear that, I thought, okay, that's cool because it's probably drawing from a Wikipedia page or some
Yes,
other online
sure, yeah.
resource. But I thought it pretty accurate because, like, oh, Nancy Kilpatrick, Canadian horror author, right?
Yeah. Well, it actually picked up a bio I wrote for something. I mean, I write bios for stories,
Yeah.
books. I usually change them a little bit. And, that's a very familiar bio. So, yeah. But I mean, I'm not opposed to AI specifically for
Yeah.
any, but I do worry about the future of it because it's, that there is a tendency with people that are creating it to really want it to do everything for us.
Right.
And you kind of wonder, well, if people don't have to, work in Amazon getting packages to us because they're already doing that. There's some
True.
amazing videos that show you. I mean, they do everything. They just move everything around and pack everything and send it out. It's just all done by non-humans. And so there's kind of that fear of, well, what are people going to do with themselves, if there's no work? And
well, I mean, the thing I look at is some of the tools you can use as a writer as AI to help. So, for example, before I send my manuscript off to the editor, I use Pro Writing Aid, which uses AI-based understanding to clean up some of my errors so that it saves the redundancy of my poor editor who goes in and counts and says, you used the same word 6 times on one page or in one paragraph. So I when you think about some of those redundant tasks that humans don't want to do, it actually saves me and my editor some hassle and time. It saves me money. It saves my editor some hassle. So I look at that as a potential perk of the software, but I also see the threat of somebody who thinks they can use that software to generate original content, which is
this is not the future. This is now.
Yeah.
I've seen the same ad a few times on YouTube, for example, where there is someone saying it's along the lines of you want to publish a novel, but you basically, I'm paraphrasing, but you don't feel like writing it. And it's obviously an AI thing. You can use the AI to write the novel, generate the entire novel, and then it can be whatever, self-published or published, if you can manage to get somebody to publish it. But yeah, that's stuff like that is very annoying, to people who are so.
Comment here from Vicky. Vicky says we don't have Alexis either, or any of those other home devices, and not real comfortable with remote controls that are constantly listening. That is the case. I'm constantly seeing ads pop up on Facebook for things that we just talked about. We never searched.
If you've got your machine on, it's probably hearing this conversation, right? Is it still on? It's hearing this conversation. It's going to come
the whole thing. Yeah.
Come get me because instead of putting up the negative part here. Mark's okay, but that Nancy Kilpatrick, we're going to silence her.
Well, and it's kind of funny, isn't it? You never know. When they take over, I want them to spare me. So.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's what that story is. And this reading has come to you by way of the Writers Union of Canada through, well, they're the go-between between the Canada Council and me and you. So I'd like to thank them, both organizations, for this. Also, Mark, whose birthday, by the way, was yesterday, as was mine. So
it was yours, yeah.
Birthday. We have the same birthday.
We're birthday twins, that's right.
Yeah. And thank Mark for all he does in terms of helping me with the tech. I can't do the tech. And he's a wonderful writer. You should go check out his book, especially if you like werewolf stories. He's got a really good series on the go.
Oh, thanks, Nancy. And people can find out more about you. Is it nancykilpatrick.com? Is that the best place?
Yeah, and if you're on Facebook, you join my Facebook page. I sometimes take a while if you ask for, unless I recognize your name. If you ask to join, I can go right away if I recognize you. But most of the time, I get like tons of people that want to befriend me, and I put it off for as long as I can, and then I'll go through. I'll just take a couple hours one day and go through all this and check out the websites and pages and everything that they have. But You can, that's one way. But if you go to my website, yes, we're still using website in this world, web pages. So nancykilpatrick.com. There is a form. There's two forms. One at the top, where as soon as you get there, where you can subscribe to my newsletter, which is free. It's once a month. But if you go to the very bottom of the page, you can actually contact me, and I will get an email from you and write back to you.
Awesome. Excellent. And where, if people are out and about in the world, where are some future places where they may be able to get a chance to see you?
Well, the next place I'll be at will be in August at Fan Expo in Toronto.
Awesome.
So I will be there with a couple of other people at the table and selling books, hawking books, as we say. And yeah, feel free to come by if you're visiting Fan Expo this year, which is a great event.
Oh yeah.
You're there too sometimes, aren't you?
I haven't been there in years. It's always overlapped with other things that are going on for
Yeah,
me. So it's been a while since I've been able to go to it. But yeah, it is a massive event. Yeah.
yeah, it's wonderful. You have to bear with the 130,000 people that go through over 4 days.
Yeah.
There's that.
The lines. There's some lines, but that's good. That's good to meet authors like yourself, and for authors to meet fans as well.
Yeah,
It's a great
it's
gathering.
really a joy to meet people. The people that come up and they get interested in the book, or people that already bought the book, or books by me, and or even I have many people that, because I'm so old now, I have people that say, "I read your books. God, it must be 20 years ago," and then they go back and I say it was something about, and they say
Yeah.
something, and I say, "Well, it was this particular." Oh yeah, this is great, and then they're excited because they want to buy another book by me. Only 20 years later, but that's okay.
Well, I think I remember. I think the very first book that I got signed by a real live author was Near Death
Yes, yeah,
by you, and it was in Ottawa. You were out
yeah,
of Smith Books,
yeah,
and I still remember that. I was on my shelf over there,
yeah,
but
yeah.
I still remember. It was like, this is the first author who ever signed a book for me, so that was really exciting.
I remember there used to be a bookstore in Toronto called Baca Books, science fiction, fantasy, horror, and Tanya Huff was there one day, and I was buying her book, and she said, "Do you want it signed?" I said, "Yes," and she said, "Well, if I don't sign it, it's worth more." So,
Yeah, yeah,
and I
that's
go,
the
"No,
joke.
I'm
Yeah,
joking." Yeah.
awesome.
Anyway, thank you all for coming here. I appreciate the attendance, and I guess this will be up on YouTube for a while, for half an eternity or something, until
Yeah.
AI takes it down.
And also on your Facebook page, so people who
Yes.
didn't get a chance to watch it live, and thank you for everyone who watched it live, but can always come back to Nancy's Facebook page and watch it there or on the YouTube channel.
Okay. Okay.
Awesome.
Thanks. Bye, everybody.